The studio lights glowed warm and steady, the kind of light that makes everything look even when it's not. The morning air on Good Morning America was filled with laughter, chatter, and the quiet buzz of professionalism. Cameras rolled, cue cards flipped, and America's favorite morning host, Michael Strahan, leaned forward with that signature smile. Across from him sat Denzel Washington, poised, legendary, a man who had faced tougher rooms than this one. But something in his eyes said this wasn't just another press junket. The interview started smooth, polite, easy. They talked about his latest film legacy and his love for storytelling. But then, Strahan shifted gears. His tone changed. The next question wasn't about movies, it was about politics, identity, Denzel's stance on Hollywood's moral responsibility. A question that carried weight, heat, and danger. The air seemed to tighten. Denzel paused, leaned back, and for a moment you could hear nothing but the hum of the lights. "Michael," he said slowly, "I'm not here to be your soundbite." The room fell silent. Strahan smiled too tightly and pressed again, his voice firm but polite. "But don't you think, Denzel, that actors like you have a duty to speak up on what's right?" That's when it changed. Denzel's calm cracked, just a hair. His words grew sharper, his tone heavy with controlled fire. "My duty," he said, "is to tell the truth in my work. Not to play politics on your stage." Crew members exchanged looks. The teleprompter operator froze. Strahan's practiced charm faltered, replaced by something rugo, maybe, or disbelief. The tension built like thunder. Two powerful men, two different worlds clashing live before millions. Viewers at home felt it, the energy, the discomfort, the sense that something real was breaking through the glossy surface of morning TV. Strahan tried to steer it back, but it was too late. Denzel was no longer playing the game. And then it happened. He leaned forward, voice low but sharp as glass. "You don't want the truth, Michael. You want control." The crew gasped. The producer's hand hovered over the commercial break button. Denzel stood up, calm but unyielding, his chair scraping against the studio floor. The audience never saw what came next. The cameras cut to a sudden ad break. But those in the room will never forget it, because in that moment, the unthinkable happened, live, on national television. The internet exploded within minutes. Clips of Denzel rising from his chair flooded social media before Good Morning America even returned from commercial break. Hashtags lit up. Everyone had an opinion, but no one really knew what had just happened. Inside the studio, the air was thick with shock. The crew avoided eye contact. Strahan sat still, jaw tight, pretending to review his notes. But his silence said everything. This wasn't supposed to happen. Later that day, talk shows across America replayed the moment frame by frame. Analysts called it a clash of titans. Two powerful men, each representing something bigger than themselves. On one side, Denzel Washington, the image of discipline, integrity, and faith. On the other, Michael Strahan, the smiling network anchor, a symbol of modern media charm and control. The question echoing everywhere: what was this really about? Was it politics? Was it pride? Or was it something far deeper? Something about how America expects its black men to perform under pressure. Even when the questions cut too deep, body language experts dissected every glance, every breath. Notice how Denzel's shoulders stiffen right after Strahan's second question, one analyst said. "That's not anger, that's restraint," another chimed in. Strahan wasn't being malicious, but he crossed the line. He stopped interviewing and started cornering. The debate grew louder, messier. The more people replayed the footage, the more meaning they found in every pause and sigh. One commentator called it the most revealing 5 seconds of live television in years. Meanwhile, new whispers began to spread. Someone in the studio claimed that, seconds before the cameras cut, Denzel said something off mic, something that didn't make it to air. The control room caught it, but producers muted the feed before it reached the public. Now rumors spread like wildfire. What did he say? Why was it cut? By evening, news anchors were calling it Denzel's meltdown. Fans called it Denzel's stand. Two narratives. To America's itch, convinced they were seeing the truth. But behind the scenes, Inside ABC headquarters, executives were panicking. A single decision was about to decide how the story would unfold: bury it quietly, or let it burn. And just when the public thought they'd seen it all, someone leaked the raw studio audio. The leaked audio hit the internet like a thunderclap. A 47-second clip, grainy, echoing roar, recorded from inside the Good Morning America control room. You could hear the faint chaos after the cameras cut to commercial. Chairs scraping, voices murmuring, a producer whispering cut his mic. And then, clear as daylight, Denzel's voice, steady, furious, unfiltered. "You can't box me into your narrative, Michael," he said. "You people want sound bites, not truth. You want symbols, not men." The clip spread across platforms faster than any PR team could react. Within an hour, millions had heard it. By nightfall, the internet was divided again. Some called it arrogance, others called it courage. News networks replayed the audio on loop, dissecting every word, every pause. One commentator said, "This isn't a celebrity outburst. This is a man breaking free from a system that feeds on image." Meanwhile, Hollywood insiders began to whisper. Sources close to Denzel claimed he'd been frustrated for months, tired of the politics. The subtle pressure to say the right thing on camera. A former co-star described him as a man of truth living in an age of performance. And then came the chilling detail. The studio wasn't supposed to have that recording. It was meant to be erased, archived quietly. Someone inside ABC had leaked it deliberately. A message? A rebellion? Or revenge? The talk show host on this very program leaned forward, eyes sharp. "Let's be honest," he said. "Denzel didn't just walk off a set. He walked out of the system. That's why this moment matters." As analysts debated, fans flooded social media with quotes from Denzel's past interviews about integrity, faith, and truth. Some called it his network moment, a man screaming that he's mad as hell and won't take it anymore. But there was another voice now entering the storm. A familiar name. A voice from Denzel's own Hollywood circle, someone who knew him, who worked beside him for years, and who decided to speak out. It wasn't a reporter. It wasn't a producer. It was an actor who once called Denzel my mentor. And when this person broke their silence, everything, every headline, every opinion took a sharp, shocking turn. Because what they revealed next would reignite the fire Denzel thought he'd just escaped. By sunrise the next morning, the story had exploded beyond television. Every outlet, CNN, Fox, TMZ, even late-night comedians, was dissecting it from every possible angle. But the biggest twist came when an unexpected voice stepped into the chaos. Viola Davis, in a calm but pointed Instagram video. She spoke directly to her camera. "Denzel Washington is one of the few people in this industry who has never compromised his truth. Maybe instead of judging him, we should ask why telling the truth feels so dangerous on live television." The post went viral instantly. Millions shared it. Hollywood insiders whispered that she had just drawn a line in the sand suddenly. It wasn't just a celebrity spat. It was a full-blown cultural earthquake. Celebrities began choosing sides. Some defended Strahan, calling him a professional doing his job. Others echoed Denzel's frustration, accusing mainstream media of exploiting authenticity for ratings. Twitter became a battlefield of ideals. Inside ABC, crisis meetings stretched through the night. Executives debated whether to release an official statement or quietly hope the news cycle would move on. But Strahan's team beat them to it. His statement dropped early that morning. "I have nothing but respect for Denzel Washington. Sometimes passionate conversations can be misunderstood." It sounded polished, careful, too careful. Denzel stayed silent. No tweet, no rep statement, nothing. His silence became louder than words. Reporters camped outside his Los Angeles home. Paparazzi stalked his every move, but he stayed hidden from view. Rumors swirled that he was planning to address the controversy in a long-form interview, not for a network, but on his own terms. Meanwhile, America divided itself in real time. One side saw Denzel as a symbol of artistic freedom. The other saw a man who disrespected a respected host on national TV, church leaders. Political commentators and fellow actors all weighed in, turning what began as a morning show spat into a mirror reflecting America's cultural tension, truth versus diplomacy, conviction versus image. Then, out of nowhere, a new headline broke across every major news site: Denzel Washington to speak out in exclusive interview tomorrow night. The world held its breath. Would he apologize or double down? And when he finally sat down before the cameras again, what he said would either redeem him or end everything he'd built. The lights were dimmer this time. No live audience. No morning smiles. Just Denzel Washington, sitting across from a single interviewer in a quiet studio. The camera framed his face, calm, serious, but weary. The world had waited days for this moment. When he finally spoke, his voice carried that unmistakable weight. Measured, deliberate, unshaken. "I'm not here to clean up a story," he began. "I'm here because people forgot that truth isn't always polite." The interviewer leaned in. "Do you regret walking off that set?" Denzel paused. "Regret? No, but I understand why it shook people. We built a culture that loves to see strong men fall, especially when they speak without permission. I'm human, but I won't apologize for being real." The air felt electric. Each word hit like a heartbeat. He spoke about Hollywood's obsession with image, the pressure to fit the acceptable narrative, and the loneliness of staying honest in a business that rewards silence. "People think I lost control," he said. "No, I finally took control." Clips from the interview circulated online within minutes. Some viewers called it redemption. Others accused him of defiance. But what came next silenced even his critics. The interviewer asked one final question. "If you could say one thing to Michael Strahan right now, what would it be?" Denzel took a breath, his eyes softening. "I'd tell him I respect him. But I'd also tell him this truth doesn't need permission. And the day we start editing truth for comfort is the day we lose what's real about this country." For a moment, no one spoke. The camera stayed on him still, powerful, unguarded. Then he added quietly, "I didn't walk off that show because I was angry. I walked off because I refused to perform." The screen faded to black. No outro music. Just silence. Social media exploded again, but this time, something was different. The conversation wasn't just about Denzel or Strahan, it was about America itself. What do we expect from our heroes? Perfect manners or honest conviction? The interview ended, but its echo lingered in every living room, every comment section, every divided heart watching from home. Because in that final moment, one question burned brighter than all the noise. Do we really want the truth? Or just the version that doesn't make us uncomfortable? If you're still here, if you felt that moment when the camera cut, when silence spoke louder than words, then this story hit you for a reason. What happened between Denzel Washington and Michael Strahan wasn't just television drama. It was a reflection of something deeper in America: how truth, pride, and power collide when the lights are on and the masks come off. Now it's your turn to weigh in. Was Denzel standing up for authenticity? Or did he cross the line? Was Michael Strahan doing his job? Or protecting an agenda? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Don't hold back. This show is built on real conversations, not filtered ones. If this series made you think, it made you feel something, then hit that like button right now. Every like tells the algorithm that honest storytelling still matters. And don't just stop there. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell, because what's coming next will shake things even more. In our next deep dive, we'll unpack the uncut footage that never aired and what it reveals about media, celebrity, and the cost of speaking truth in the modern age. You've heard their voices. Now, we want yours. Because this isn't just about Denzel. It's about all of us, about who controls the story, who dares to challenge it. So comment, like, subscribe, stay awake. Because the story is just beginning.